Um, yes, hell has frozen over. If you're watching this is back-to-back episodes of the A.N.A. podcast in 2023. Yes, it is true. It's true. And yeah, I am Alex Mack. With me is my boy.
Outside.
Yeah, what's going on, man? All right, so yeah, you last week, last like 2 weeks ago or so, like early in the morning, I get a text hit my phone, right? And I'm just like, okay, what is this? I thought it was because my wife was in the hospital at the time. And so I'm looking like, okay, what's going on? And then I said, oh, it's Hood. Okay, it's been a minute. Okay, what's it's 8 in the morning. What's going on? And he's something to the effect of, yo, wrestling. I get it now, or something like that. And I'm groggy. I'm looking at the phone. I'm like, what? It wasn't computing for like a couple few minutes. It wasn't computing, right? And I'm like, wait, what? Hood talking about wrestling? About WWE? Like, and once that connected, it's just like, why? Why of all times now you get into good old wrestling and like possibly the worst era of wrestling. Now you get into it, but
Listen, it might be the worst for y'all. It's the only one for me. So,
oh my lord, that's heartbreaking. Oh brother, that's heartbreaking.
I listen. I always had this like passing interest, right? But I had a bedtime, so I was never really allowed to watch it anyway. So, on the rare occasion where I would get to glance at it, I would be entertained for like 15, 20 minutes just watching them riff on the mic, you know what I mean? But I usually never got to see any main event fights because those things happen at like 10:30 and whatnot. So, that was a no-go for me. But
Right,
I
right.
had I had one DVD that my boy Cabron let me hold. I think he forgot to get it back because I think I just kept that motherfucker. Um, it was 2003's No Mercy, and this was like the first event thing that I had ever seen. So I think it had like Eddie Guerrero versus Big Show. It had Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker and some I think like a chain match, something like that. It had a couple things on it, a couple good things. It had the Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon I Quit match. Um, and I would just watch that back to back to back to back because it was like I'm never gonna really get to watch it live. But I lost it, and I never really cared to find it again. And what ended up happening is there's actually this YouTuber named Super Eye Patch Wolf. He had two videos about one was like about the culture of wrestling itself, and one was about the story of the Undertaker and why he's such a big deal. And I watched both of them, and I was like, the way he's breaking it down is interesting. Like it's something I could see myself getting into if I had the time or more of an interest. But I didn't. I just left it alone. Fast forward a couple years, I'm on Facebook, and there was an Eddie Guerrero promo. It was like a 6-minute promo. He's hyping up a fight that he's gonna have with Brock Lesnar. He's talking about overcoming his addiction and everything. They had this emotional music behind it and everything like that. And I was like, damn, I'm getting goosebumps. Like, I know this is long since over. Like, whatever happened between them has already happened, but like, I mean, he's dead and everything like that. But I was like, I feel invested. So I hopped on YouTube and I Googled to see if I hopped on YouTube and I searched to see if I could find that particular fight. And I found it. They had the full fight of Eddie versus Brock, whatever fight that was, and he won it. And I was like, I'm feeling something. And it just so happened that I did this on a Monday when wrestling was
Raws on.
yeah. And I have YouTube TV. I got it for the NFL, so I could watch that during the season. But since I had YouTube TV, I was getting certain cable channels. So at 8 o'clock, I just saw the Raw banner, and I was like, let me just turn this on. And I said, listen, I just got hooked. And I've been watching I've watched every single one since. I've gone back. I've done some I've done some legacy type things. Watch some of the older matches and things like that.
Yeah,
started
yeah.
absorbing like biographies and things like that, watching the whole Legends thing where it talks about the people and their careers and everything. I've just really just been absorbing the culture by the last 3 months. I just went live at DC on Friday.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
There's one. There was one here.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, nice. I went to. I've only been to one. I've been a wrestling fan since I was a little kid. I've only been to one event, and it was amazing. Like that was 2012, I think, at Capital One Arena. Man, it was dope. Everybody was there too. I saw everybody. Yeah, man, I was a kid. No, I was a little kid, But yeah. Well, see, now that you mentioned '03, like that era of wrestling, it's when it started to. It was still high in '03, early 2000s, and then like mid to late 2000s is when it kind of started to fizzle out and just completely tank. But yeah, if you go to like, I would say 97 to like '05 or sometime around then, the absolute best, the absolute peak of wrestling. And it will never, like, it's still living off of, like you said, you saw like the old Eddie Guerrero Brock Lesnar match and the whole like promos and everything that going up. Peak wrestling, okay? It even got you 20 years later. Right? Peak. It will never, it's still living off of like the Attitude Era, that whole like early 2000s era with like DX and NWO, and with Nitro and Raw and the Invasion, and when Vince McMahon actually killed wrestling and bought everything, you know. Yeah, it's that the peak. That's why it's like, you're watching wrestling. Like, why? Just it's kind of completely. Is well, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's garbage because like the whole Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman thing, um, the Usos, that's pretty cool. Like, I can't deny that. That's pretty dope. Um, AEW is doing something kind of decent there too. So it's if there's these weird instances where wrestling will like flicker to life like for a hot second, and then it kind of collapses in on itself. But no, that's dope. I would suggest, I would say start at Royal Rumble 98. Like on the Peacock. Do you have Peacock?
I do. That's why I've been watching it.
There's Royal Rumble 98, and just ride that wave. Just ride the wave of like that whole year. It's, bro, it's I still watch promos and stuff from then, because like it's The Rock in his prime, Steve Austin in his prime, Triple H in his prime, Bret Hart in his prime, The Undertaker. You know what I'm saying? It's like all these icons, like Chris Jericho, the Hardy Boys. You know what I mean? It's just like all these massive, like super talented people just coming together at their apex in the same place at the same. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, like from that era on, yeah, it will make a fan out of anybody, honestly.
Royal Rumble 98.
Yes, and honestly, all the Raws and stuff from then, like the Raws and SmackDown from then,
Mm-hmm.
can't go wrong. You will absolutely not go wrong with any of that. Like you could watch that entire year. It was just amazing thing after amazing thing after amazing thing. Like the Dog Father, it's just so much stuff. And then Mike Tyson. I think that was that WrestleMania. Mike Tyson had a event with Steve Austin.
I saw a little bit of the promo material for that. I saw when
Yeah,
Steve shoved them in the ring or something like that, and then they got into it.
peak, absolute peak wrestling. And then that's just WWE. And then you go over to WCW with Nitro, and you got the NWO with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, rest in peace, like did that invasion angle. It don't get, literally you're flipping back and forth, literally flipping back and forth nonstop to see like what's going on.
So I'm gonna come with a review of the '98 Royal Rumble event next week. I'm gonna let you know what it is. I'm gonna watch that one. It'll take me a while to work my way through the whole year, but I'm gonna watch that one event this year. This week, and I'm gonna come let you know how I felt about it next week.
Bro, we can live view that. Like, you ain't saying nothing but a word or nothing, but I will watch that again in a heartbeat. Like I'm gonna watch it too. I'm gonna watch it too, and we gonna like come here next week and like just go over everything. Like that's my era. That's my favorite era. Like from 97 to like 05, 06 ish. Man, it's a dog.
Word. I can dig it. I really did. I really am enjoying, what's going on. It is one of the just a tiny thing that just coming with age kind of happens to you. It's like I never went through the period of thinking it was all real. So I can see through the smoke and mirrors, as I'm watching it. And sometimes, like most of the times, that actually adds to the experience for me. But every now and again, I'm looking at something, I'm like, all right, bro, come on. You better do better.
Yeah. I think that's what ruined wrestling for me now. Cause I even back then, my dad, my dad, when I was like a little kid and was into it, this is back in like the Macho Man days, right? And he was like, look, son, you're like a fully grown man jumps off the top rope of a ring and puts his elbow right in under your chin, right? And you get up and do the same thing next week. Right? You're like, come on, it's not, come on, son. But even with that, no, it never during that era. It's you kind of knew that kind of like added to it a little bit too, because you knew like, oh, it's kind of like you knew the politics too, like when kayfabe was still a thing back then. But even like the smarks, I guess they call us, we kind of knew the politics and how things go, and like somebody like do a heel turn or something, and somebody like I don't know, like breaks out and makes a run for the title, and they're like, oh, well, no, he's gonna be next because like they really like him because they made him win like 3 matches in a row, and then they're gonna set him up for the title, that kind of thing. So yeah, it actually enhanced it. It didn't take away from it for me. For a lot of us, it didn't take away, but it was still that one guy that was like, it's still real to me, damn it.
Oh, really? But yeah, that whole like the fact that it dances that line. This is kind of what Super Eye Patch Wolf was talking about in this video. The fact that it dances that line, where like these people are playing characters, but because these are their professional jobs and a lot of contractual obligations or whatnot put them in certain situations.
Yeah.
A lot of times their real life issues or whatever kind of plays out on on the stage. You know what I mean? Like if he's mad, if a dude is mad about losing 6 times in a row, the character's mad because he's taking L's, but the guy playing the character is mad because he feels like the company is fucking him over.
Yeah.
With his actual paycheck. And I'm just like, it's so real fake. It's like you can't. I was explaining to my friend the other day, like it's so intertwined between what part of it is real and what part of it is fake that you can't even definitively say this is the real parts of it, this is the fake parts of it. I mean, like obviously these stunts are staged and everything like that, but when somebody jumps ship for you and goes to another company, you know what I mean? Like y'all were professional, whatever, and then your two characters meet in a ring for some kind of showdown or event, whatever. It's like part of you probably really feels hurt by this boy who walked out on you, to go pursue other. So it's like these characters hate each other, but these two real men probably have some unresolved feelings too. So it's just I think that's so cool.
I think the most infamous event where like the backstage literally spilled out in front of the camera, in front of everybody, is the Montreal screw job, which I'm sure you've heard about at least if you haven't seen it. So that's the most infamous thing where like you said, Bret Hart, I'm about to say Bret Favre, damn. Bret Hart was leaving to go to WCW. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels had issues at the moment. So, Bret Hart wanted to keep the belt that night and then drop it on Raw the next night. And Vince McMahon was like, no, we can't do that. In a way, he's right. That's kind of bullshit to do that on the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like people paying to see this, have Shawn win the belt, but Bret didn't want to do it. Vince McMahon just came out and said, ring the damn bell. And, the the rest is history. But the other incident is with the Hardy boys, like Matt Hardy and
Mhm.
Lita, who's got still fine as hell. But they were together. They were like an actual couple at the
Mhm.
time. And then Lita started uh sleeping with Edge. And so that whole like backstage thing actually played they because Vince McMahon is an asshole. He said, "Oh, that's a good storyline," and so they had to actually like play out this whole thing in the ring in front of everybody. You know.
Oh no, I'd have quit. You're not about to monetize my pain, bro. Like, no, chill, chill.
Hey, to their credit, the consummate professionals, they worked that whole thing out. You know what I mean? And on stage, and I think Edge and Lita are still together. I think
Now Edge
so.
is with Beth.
Oh, he is. He's with Beth. Okay, so damn,
Married.
it was a lose lose. Damn, Lita. But
I like Beth.
she's cool. Beth Phoenix. But yeah, okay, yeah, no, that's dope. I can go back and watch that era of wrestling without an issue. Like you ain't pulling my arm on there, buddy.
Word.
Uh, um,
I'm actually looking forward to doing that now because I watched this Royal Rumble. This was my first one, and
oh, this
I watched.
year's. I haven't seen
Mhm.
this one. I gotta watch that. I haven't seen this one.
Word. I won't tell you. Um, and then I went back and watched last year's because I wanted some context for some of the beef that was going on when I had started. Because it's like a soap opera. There's never really like whenever you jump in, you're jumping into the middle of something. You know what I mean? There really is
Right.
no beginning. So
Yeah.
I was just like, all right, let me see what's going on and how yada yada yada. And it's amazing how much a year makes a difference in this world because the people I've gotten to know over the last couple months, I turned on some episodes from last year. Their getup is different. Some of them got different names. You know, people who are like best of friends now were like bitter rivals. Like I'm like, yo, what the fuck happened in 365 days? Shit?
Yeah, they gotta keep rebranding. They gotta keep people's attentions. I think that's the worst business to be in the social media age. you know, because everybody knows it's a work. Everybody knows it's fake, and then but you got to stay engaged, and you got people's attention spans are super short. Yeah, that's a rough business to be in. But even if you're not watching it, like Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and like SummerSlams are like the three you can just pop in and see because it's always kind of worth watching those three pay-per-views. Like, but all right, yeah, that's cool. I don't know what else. The only other thing